Well, now what you get to see is the GPS setup. Hello, so hi friends, welcome back to another video on two wheels Ben. So today is going to be about my handlebar setup. I was just working on the ignition switch the last video, and I just thought to myself, why don't I talk about my handlebar and how it is set up? Because I believe very strongly that the most important thing as far as riding two wheels is how the sensation comes in through the handlebars, because this is the control unit, and if you are not comfortable with the handlebar setup, pretty much the whole ride gets spoiled. You don't enjoy a bit of it. So this time it's going to be about all that I've done, all that you see, and why you see it there. So to begin with, what you see here is a KTM. So why the KTM handlebar? As you can see, you have this particular bend right here and here. If you can see, it has a nice bend here, and this is called the sweep of the handlebar. And this particular handlebar has a very nice sweep towards the rider, and I really would recommend something like this for people who plan on doing long distance touring. And the stock handlebar doesn't have so much of a sweep. It's a little towards the front. The enduro handlebar that comes along with the Royal Enfield Himalayan Sleet is almost a straight bar. The number one reason why I chose this bar is because of this sweep. It comes towards the rider. My arm, as you can see, gets a nice flat, nice bend on the elbow, and that is pretty important when you do a lot of long distance. And if you go hardcore off-roading and you do a lot of enduro runs, then maybe a straight handlebar helps us, because it's all about how you control the handlebar with all your strength and might, and how you sense the terrain. But this is a 50-50, I would say. This can do good lengths of hours on road, and then it also depends on how your skills are off-road. So I particularly don't have any problems with these handlebars so far. Now, that being said, apart from the sweep, why did I go in for this particular handlebar? The second reason would be the strength of the material used. The stock handlebar from the factory, Himalayan handlebar, is pretty weak. Every time you have a minor fall, the bloody handlebar tends to get bent right around here, whereas this handlebar is very high quality. I've had at least 10 drops on this handlebar so far, and not a single degree that has gone off. So highly recommended if you want a stronger handlebar. And this also has something called tapering ends. I would not want to call it a fat bar, but it is maybe a close relative or a cousin of a fat bar. Why is because the center portion is wide, and you start seeing the ends taper towards, you start seeing the sides of the handlebar tapered towards the end. And like you can see, it's thick here, and it slowly starts thinning out and thinning out and thinning out, and what you're left with is something like that. Nice tapered end. So you again know that the center portion is nice and sturdy and wide, and can take a lot of stress from a fall. So that's as far as the handlebar is concerned. I would highly recommend a stronger handlebar, be it the Art of Motorcycles handlebar that Junaid Bhai and their team sells, or any other handlebar that has very good customer reviews. Kindly buy one, because the stock Himalayan handlebar is cheese. You fall down and it bends almost instantly. The next addition that you see here is these two. They are handlebar risers, and another mod that is highly recommended Why is because if you're anywhere between the height range of 5'8" to 6'1", then I would highly recommend the handlebar risers, because with this you can pretty much do saddling all day long. You can stand up and ride the bike comfortably, and you will not feel a stress in your lower back. And this is highly recommended for the ones who have some lower back issues. This particular model that I have are called pivoting risers. They are not the normal regular risers which just add height. They are also pivoting risers. By that, what I mean is, if you loosen these bolts here and here, you can tilt these fellows forward and backwards. So you have multiple settings on with these handlebars. One, you can loosen these bolts on the top and move your handlebars front and back. And you can also do the same thing at the bottom. If you loosen these two bolts, then like you can see, this particular unit can be moved front and back. So it's just something which makes your day a lot more comfortable. And with that being said, this helps make the arm get that nice comfortable position. You can hold your bike on the road for about 6 to 8 hours at a stretch without absolutely no strain. So that's another comfort mod. Moving on to the next mod, that is the wonderful Handguard. So this came as a surprise to me again. I paid around 1,500 Indian rupees to get this from a local retailer here. This has an aluminium spine that you guys get to see here. It has a aluminium clamping system, whatever you want to call it, and then it also has this beautiful plastic handguard shield. It's pretty sturdy. It might look a little too wide and big, but that's exactly what I wanted in the first place. So all this for 1,500 rupees, and I'm left wondering every single time what's going on in the Chinese market. These guys make things which sell for pittance, and they're pretty much decent quality. A lot more, I would say, malleable than the bark busters. The bark busters are rock solid and they are super heavy. These things weigh 50% less and they are a little more malleable. So just in case of a crash or a fall, I would want my handguards to bend and not the handlebar. So in that respect, I'm more than happy to have these installed. And another beautiful thing that came as an incentive was that these the spine, the aluminium spine, it's powder coated in black, and it's some kind of a rubbery coat which is quite nice to the touch. So the whole setup, 1,500 bucks. 2 aluminium spine, a pair of clamps, the mounting system, and then along with it your plastic handguards. So the whole of it for 1,500 rupees, and that would roughly be maybe 20 US dollars. Amazing what you get these days. Forgot to talk about this. This is the KTM Handlebar bar ends that come as stock on a KTM 390. Now I had this twin bar end set up for the KTM handlebar, the handguards. But now since that's gone, you see them looking kind of weird here. But any which ways, I would have gotten rid of one and just kept the other to make it look a little more aesthetically pleasing. But went around riding for a day or two and then found that the handlebars have developed a little more of vibration. So got these fellows installed again, and now the vibration is gone. So that's the KTM Barons. Well, now coming to the most asked question, where did you get these mirrors from? And these things are called DOUBLETAKE mirrors, DOUBLETAKE Adventure, and they have another DOUBLETAKE Enduro model, which is a nice big circle there, just like the stock mirror. And what's good about these mirrors? One, they can fold away, so that's how they look when they fold away. You can do your off-road sessions without worrying about cracking your mirrors just by folding them out of place, and they fold back. So anytime you need them on the road, they fold back in place, and when you do tight off-road trails, you can fold them to the center. So that's one huge advantage of having something like a DOUBLETAKE mirror. Well, I did not get these mirrors for that reason. I got them because it was simply too irresistible for me as a design element. There are times when we spend a little more on design. At times design becomes the supreme quality that we look for in just about anything. And this is one of those times where function followed form. I just happened to fall in love with these mirrors ever since I saw them on adventure bikes in the West, and then I was just wanting to get them on the motorcycle as well. Moving on to the switches. What are the switches for? One comes along with the POWERTRONIC ECU. Of course, you pay extra for this. It doesn't come for free. I paid around 1,000 bucks for the switch. It's an aluminium anodized switch, and this is to switch between the maps on the go. Nothing like having the ability to switch between maps on the go. And that's map 1. That will be map 2 for you. Pretty good build quality. Has a nice wonderful sleeve for the wiring that runs the entire length till the battery. Till the ECU. And pretty much happy with the way it is. The second switch is almost a very similar model. Again, an aluminium switch. This is for the spotlight in the front. Well, that is what comes on with the switch. So the two switches, I place them there is because they're pretty much super easily accessible when I ride with my left arm, because this is the clutch arm. I do not like letting go of the throttle every single time. I have to make some tweaks here. So it's my left arm that does the switch operations. Moving on to the next thing, that is the 12-volt power adapter. This I will leave a link to all these things that I have here on the handlebar, so that you guys can also go ahead and check them out and decide if you want to buy them or not. So that's the 12-volt cigarette lighter charger adapter, whatever you want to call it. So you plug in your regular those USB connectors into this, and you have power out of this. So a good quality product. And well, now what you get to see is the GPS setup. I have it mounted onto my X grip system, but that's just temporary. I have my GPS case which I mount on this, and I don't have it right now with me, so it's just the GPS. And this is the charger that plugs into the 12-volt charger or the adapter, and that's that. What I have next on the handlebar is the regular X grip system that you get. This is another Chinese knockoff, not the original RAM product, but something that you get pretty much anywhere and everywhere in markets that sell motorcycle accessories and parts. So I got this for about, again, 1400 bucks or something, and this has continued to work for 2 years now without any complaints. It has a 5-volt charging adapter there, which is kind of a waterproof, which has a waterproof rubber insert, so it takes care of itself during bad weather. And all that has happened with this is that these rubber inserts, they've come off, but these guys do provide you with 2 additional rubber inserts, and just glue them back onto onto its place, and no complaints. What you also see me have here is I have another additional set of RAM mounting system. This is for my GPS system. I've made a video on my GPS case, so you can mount that here, and when it is not required, I kind of keep it onto one side. The last mod that you see is a cramp buster, or an armrest, whatever it is that you want to call it. A fantastic piece of design and engineering. As you can see, it rotates only in one axis or one direction, doesn't rotate on the other direction. If you try and push it on the other direction, it will hold the throttle or the accelerator along with it and rotate. So you get the idea. What this does is this reduces the tension on the arm when you try and twist the throttle, or when you try and hold a certain speed for a really long time. This makes the job easier. So if this is on your handlebar, then you can know for a fact that you just you will be consuming lesser energy trying to twist and hold the throttle at a certain position. So that's the whole of it. That's all the mods, and that's my handlebar setup. Nothing like having a custom cockpit made for your ride, because this is what you get to see throughout the day, and if this doesn't look nice, if this doesn't feel nice, then of course it's going to be putting your mood off. This is my wonderful handlebar setup, and I'll give you a close-up view of everything after this. Signing off for now. See you guys. Kindly subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and click the like button, and also hit the bell icon for further notification on all the updates.